Hi, this is Nancy Christy-Moore again, and I'm back today to talk to you a little bit about the isolation coat. Now, a lot of artists have asked me, why do you use an isolation coat? I use an isolation coat always on my acrylic paintings before the final varnish. And the reason for that is you want your painting, you want all the colors in your painting to remain just the way they are. You want them isolated. You don't want anything wandering around while you're varnishing it. So an isolation coat just takes what is and keeps it just like the word says, isolated. And it also adds a depth and a brilliance to your work. So I like my colors to have some luminosity, so I prefer using a coat of isolation. You can also use isolation coats between layers of color. And by that I mean when you're painting a painting like this and you're working in different layers of color, you may want to put an isolation coat in between the layers to give it extra depth and luminosity. Always wait 30 minutes for it to dry in between coats. And the more coats you have on it, the more layers of color. Wait just a little bit longer, because with acrylics, that's the whole key to it. The key is the more the acrylic product is on your canvas or your paper, the longer the drying time. It just makes sense. So come on over here to the table and I'll show you a little bit about using this and how to mix your isolation coat. Here's what we're using. It's called soft gel gloss, and it's a gel medium. It's an acrylic gel medium. I use golden. You can use probably Liquitex or anything you like. I have a jar in the studio of this all mixed up, and I label it isolation coat so that I don't use it for anything else. You use 2 parts, and I just use a little cup, 2 parts of the soft gel gloss to 1 part water. So I would take 2 scoops of this, 1 scoop of water, put it in here and mix it, and then let it wait about 30 minutes till the bubbles settle down. Then you're going to take a very soft acrylic bristle brush and get it wet, and I like to use a larger one because I can cover more territory at once. Just dip it in there and start painting on your painting. You'll notice that as you paint, the gloss medium looks a little white, but it's not actually. When it dries, it will dry transparent. And I'm using a very light stroke because I don't want to bring up anything. I know this painting has some watercolor in it and it has some acrylic in it. So the watercolor may tend to move around a little bit. And I want to avoid that. Since I like it the way it is, I don't need to be repainting it. If I have to, I can. You can do anything before your final varnish. So remember that. Now I'm probably going to frame this painting, but I may decide to mount it. If I decide to mount it, I will final varnish it. If I decide to frame it, I will not varnish it. It will just go the way it is. I don't want to paint back into it because it will get very sticky and okay, that's it. So take this into your studio, get some of this soft gel gloss, and start learning how to do your isolation coats. Have fun.